the meeting of the Green Bay Traffic, Bicycle, and Pedestrian Commission for Monday, February 15th, 2021. We're on item A in a Zoom meeting again this month, so hopefully that's working for all. Move along to B, roll call. Chairperson Keepers is here, present. Vice Chairman Dino.
Here.
Alderman Stevens.
Here.
Lieutenant Sabichek.
Soviak here.
Soviak. I still didn't get that right yet, did I, Mike? God, you're just gonna be Mike from now on. Is that okay?
That works.
Soviak. Soviak. I made a note last month to call you Soviak. Sorry about that. Move along. Chairperson Reardon.
Here.
Okay. I think we're all present and accounted for then, so. Approval of the agenda. No, not
Motion
much
to
choice-
approve.
Not much
Second.
choice in the agenda. So let's go D, approval of the minutes, approval of Monday, January 18th, 2021 traffic, bicycle, pedestrian commission meeting minutes. Do I hear a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion, do I hear a second?
Second.
Motion made and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Let's move on to our one item under regular business. Initial request, consideration with possible action on a request by Jerry Piontek to install additional speed limit 25 Bader Street and Main Street. So Dave, do you want to start, or do you want Alder
Sure.
Craig to start, or?
Sure, I'll just provide you some background on it. We did get the official request that had a letter. The letter is actually contained as an attachment to the agenda. I'm not going to really read it, but it in essence is just summarized by agenda request. The background on this is that Newberry Avenue is a collector street, designated as a collector street. One of the streets intersecting is Henry Street. That's also a collector street, and one side has a pretty long span from Oakdale to Eastman Avenue. There is a four-way or multi-way stop at Newberry and Huth, the second intersection. So pretty standard for us to, when we have collectors meet collectors with four-way stops, to install speed limit signs for those motorists turning off of those collectors onto other collectors. That and at other four-way stops. So we do have two of those intersections. So 2 intersections would mean 4 signs. So I'm making a recommendation to install a total of 4 speed limit 25 signs on Newberry Avenue. One would be eastbound between Henry Street and Schober Street. One between Huth and Jacob Streets. A third would be westbound between Reamer and Huth Streets. And lastly, a fourth westbound between Henry Street and Villiers Street.
It's
Alder
already
Steve?
it's already 25 miles per hour in that area, correct? It's just adding the signs.
Correct. There is no change of speed limit. It is just simply adding some speed limit signs that are being requested. And upon review, staff felt it was an agreeable request. I mean, they had basically, I think, wanted them pretty much in front of their house, the requester's house, but we looked at it and just more right size it to how we would install signs.
I think the goal there on Newberry regarding, the resident that lives there and everybody else on Newberry is try to get that traffic to slow down through there. So I think adding these extra signs would be a right move in the right direction.
Well, are you moving, Alder?
Yes, I'll make a motion to approve or recommend his approval.
Okay, motion made. Do I hear a second, or is there any other comment on this issue? Dan, did you have something to add, or you just want to move it along?
I'll second the motion.
Okay. Motion made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. As quick as it, through the next item there, next meeting, Monday, March 15th. So,
Mr.
if anybody
Chairman,
knows that they won't be at that one at this point yet, or March is a busier month for getting out of town. So,
Mr. Chairman,
yes.
about that area, and we've got Alder Stevens on. I think it's still in his district, but maybe not. We had talked about this 3 or 4 years ago, and that is the stop and go lights at Deckner and Henry. I went through there again this afternoon on my way out to UWGB to get my vaccination. And I really don't know why we have stop and go lights at Henry and Deckner. We had, again, talked about that a couple of years ago. Dave, you mentioned at one time that there was going to be a citywide study as to whether or not some of these stop and go lights are necessary. What are your inclinations at this point with that project, and also specifically that intersection?
I guess for clarification, we actually have conducted 2 citywide signal removal projects since I've been here as traffic engineer. We do not have any slated for the future. However, that does not mean that there cannot be an evaluation conducted at particular signalized intersections that are questionable by members of the public, by alders, etc. And if they would like staff to review that, they can simply put a request in to staff, request into the Traffic, Bicycle, and Pedestrian Commission to see those signals for removal.
Well, again, I don't know if that's in your district, Craig, or not, but
It is. It's in my district.
I don't see the purpose of those stop and go lights there. It's really does not have a safety purpose as far as I can see, or a traffic flow purpose. And at the time we talked about that before, Amy Kocha objected to it because she had heard from one constituent that wanted to keep the lights, and we kind of dropped it. So anyways, I wanted to just throw that out for people to start thinking about it.
Dave, is that something we should have an agenda item on for the next meeting to talk about?
I guess it hasn't really been on staff's radar relative to removal of the signal. However, I think Dan brings up some good points. You know, I think the traffic is probably a little any of our signalized intersections, and you know, we won't really know unless we conduct a signalized evaluation or a warrant evaluation of that particular intersection. I can tell you that, well, based off of last meeting, as you know, we had the informational item regarding Delsman and Gray, and they certainly do get a lot of attention when it comes down to conducting trials, because, you know, I would look at, let's presume we have a similar situation with Deckner Henry like we do with Delsman and Gray, where staff evaluates it, finds out signals are not warranted, but then we find out either a 2-way or a 4-way stop would be more desirable at that intersection. You know, when we start flashing the signal, you know, we could potentially have compliance issues. I know Lieutenant Sobiak could probably expand on that, because I know that he and his officers and his unit have been out at Delsman and Gray, and I can tell you we've had, at least at the onset, was a little bit more of a challenge to get compliance. I think that at least from what I've observed, since we've made some signing improvements, you know, we flagged the advanced warning signs, we added some stop ahead signs, we actually put stop all ways underneath the near right traffic signals that are flashing. And every time I've gone through since, it seems to be actually working quite well. And you know, but the bottom line is you're going to get a lot of interest. I can already tell you, I've talked to the media on this. I had an interview last week, and it was on WBAY Action 2 News. Most of the feedback that I'm getting is negative on it. Not really sure why, because I think it's actually, the trial is successful at this point. And like I said, you know, I expected a little bit of a learning curve. I expected some non-compliance in the beginning. That just happens for the complacency of the motorists that utilize that intersection every day. However, we are seeing an improvement, which is again something I expect. So with all that being said, is Deckner Henry a candidate? I can't tell you for certain, but I can tell you that it based off of my anecdotal knowledge of the collection of traffic counts that we've done there over the years, that it ranks lower in the entering volume category than many of our other signalized intersections. That doesn't mean, and volumes are only one thing. Crash and safety is another big one. And I can tell you that Dousman and Gray, that was probably the predominant issue that was going on at that intersection on why we brought this up. We're trying to correct a problem of 33 crashes in 5 years at that location. So you have something like Deckner Henry. I don't know all that data off the top of my head. We do collect it. I'd have to summarize it and put it into a study. So I guess that's something that, after this meeting, if Alder Craig Stevens, that's your district, if you want to have a discussion about that intersection, I'd be more than happy to have that with you. And Dan, if you got any other feedback on it as well, obviously my phone is available for your calling, and we can have a discussion on that. And who knows, maybe it becomes a project.
I would be interested in taking a look at it, that intersection.
Okay. Looking here at council agenda or council time frame here. Looks like council meets on Wednesday or 2 days from now. So Craig, if you are indeed interested in that, feel free to at the council level, and we'll process the request, and we could actually hear this as early as March's meeting.
All right.
Thanks, Craig.
Hey, you're welcome.
Okay, anything else for the cause tonight? Okay, if not, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion made. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second, okay. All in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Motion carries. We are adjourned till March 15th.